Welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. What you are going to see tonight is a company of stand-up comedians who have trained together in a workshop conducted by award-winning comedy director, founder of the American Comedy Institute, and author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, Steve Rosenfield. Some of the students who have gone on from this workshop have performed on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Conan O'Brien, Gotham Comedy Live, Saturday Night Live, and Comedy Central, and they perform in the best stand-up clubs all across the United States and all over the world. And speaking of across the United States, with our workshops online, we have students performing from all across the US tonight and several making their stand-up comedy debut. So thanks so much for tuning in. We're gonna have a great show. I'm your host. My name is Michaela, and I'm so happy to be here. Well, I'm actually so relieved to be here. I'm in New York City because I spent the first part of this pandemic, a solid chunk, in Florida. It was terrifying. There was a car outside that just resonated with me. They were so scared of Florida too. But I wasn't alone. I had a great quarantine pod, two amazing people. They've been married for 25 beautiful years. They've now seen all 8 seasons of Dexter thrice, and they still don't believe in global warming. It was Mike and Tina Fagan, just the greatest parents and pod partners I could ask for. Ooh, they live in a 55 and over community though. So for 6 months, I lived in a 55 and over community. And every night I fell asleep knowing I was the only fertile woman in at least a mile. And if this became a situation where we had to like repopulate the earth, there was going to be a line of old men knocking down my door. So I had to get out as quickly as possible. But before I did, I came up with the parameters of the competition that I would have had to conduct. An eligible driver's license would be required to enter. Then there'd be a jitterbug competition just for me to determine their style and flair. And then bocce ball to the death. I would procreate with the lone victor. So thankfully for the men of that community, I'm back in New York now. Also in college, I'll be honest with you, I was a lesbian. And I still am because I'm not a quitter. I don't quit. Absolutely not. I have a lot of straight friends though, but this is not that bad. It's okay being the only gay one in a group of straight friends because I get all of their boyfriends' clothes from their failed relationships. It's an amazing perk. That thick, soft flannel that he draped over her shoulders so she didn't get chilly on the beach, that's mine now. And I could fit a wallet in the chest pocket. It's incredible. Sometimes they're apologetic too. They're like, oh, he was going through a Hawaiian shirt phase. I should just donate these. I'm like, yeah, you should. You should donate them to Funky Dad Shirts for me. Hey, that's my favorite charity. Hand them over. They'll sniff a sweatshirt before they give it to me. They're like, oh my God, it still smells like him. I'm like, this boy went to Yale. I'll wash it twice. I want all the girls at Fort Greene Park to think I'm smart. He's Ivy League. Oh, it's tough. And I am a petite one, so I encourage them to date shorter men, but the point is that they have to break up for me to get the clothes, and a short king will absolutely cherish you forever. So that makes it difficult. When I was growing up, I really wanted to be in beauty pageants, like as a toddler. This didn't happen for me, but I know exactly how I would have wanted to be introduced, and I think I could have at least won a couple trophies. Very toddlers and tiaras style, whatever woman introducing the competition at like a Wyndham ballroom would have to say. And now, coming to the stage, it's little Miss Michaela Fagan. She's got brown hair, brown eyes, and a golden heart. Her 2 favorite things to do are rip worms in half and eat craft singles straight from their individual plastic packaging. Her record is 23 in a row. Wow, Michaela, that's a lot of cheese. She loves her parents, her cats, and maybe Jesus, but she's skeptical. Her favorite smells are gasoline and pork. And when she grows up, she'd like to be a Radio City Rockette. Good luck with that, sweetheart. Or rich. This is little Miss Michaela. I'd come out like, I think I could have been a contender. I'm not the only queer person in my family. I'm very lucky. I have a wonderful aunt who's been married to this incredible woman for like 30 years, and they love to give me advice. but their advice is just a little bit outdated. I'll come to them like, hey, how long should I wait before I message this girl on TikTok? And they're like, okay, here we go. Yes, I got this. Step number 1, marry a man. Wait 10 to 12 years. I'm like, no, I don't think you understood my question. Like, it's all part of the process, okay? It's part of the process. Then at your weekly all-girls poker game, go on up to your friend Debbie and give her a clumsy but passionate kiss on the side of the face. Wait 10 to 12 more years. It never happened. Never. Okay, then at your goddaughter's communion, Debbie will be invited. She's like family. Go on up to Debbie, kiss her full on the mouth, tell her you'd die for her, live happily ever after in secrecy. Tell absolutely no one. Does that help? I'm like, no, but thank you so much. I love you guys. I'm so excited for the rest of your show. I cannot wait to bring your first comic to the screen. He is so funny, performing all the way from New York City, right across the East River. Hello. Please give it up for the very funny Peter Koo.
Hello, thank you. Thank you very much, Michaela. Hi, everyone. So I have this long history of never being able to get any second dates. See, I take women out to dinner for a first date, and then I never hear from them again. So the next time that happens, I'm just gonna ask, is it me you don't like or Burger King? Jeff Bezos, the founder and chairman of Amazon, he went to the same college as I did. It's kind of a fun fact. He majored in electrical engineering and computer science. I chose to major in English literature. Here's another fun fact. The median occupational salary difference between those majors, $200 billion. I am a really good speller, except I always have trouble with 2 words, cinnamon and clitoris. I never know how many eyes they have. The difference is I know where to find cinnamon. My 12-year-old niece, she's at an age when she's starting to get obsessed with clothes. So I said to her, clothes don't make the kid makes the clothes, especially in China. When I was a kid, I loved the classic video games of the 80s. They actually taught me a lot about how to navigate adult relationships. Like the game Duck Hunt taught me about dating. Just aim low and go after a sick one. And the game Tetris taught me about sex. You only get so many chances to put it in the right hole. In this Tina Turner biopic called What's Love Got to Do with It, there's this line that her abusive ex-husband says to her when she tries to end their relationship. He says, "This shit ain't over." I'm not proud of it, but I once said that to a girl. I said, "This shit ain't over. This shit ain't over." She said, "Sir, I don't make the rules. Our breakfast menu ended at 11. I went to this seminar at my church about personal accountability. And the pastor said, when you point your finger at someone else, 3 fingers point back at you. I had a question, so I raised my hand and asked, Reverend, when I masturbate, all my fingers point back at me. Does that mean I am being totally accountable when I jerk off? So he didn't say yes or no, But he said something about upsetting the group and that I should leave. I once had a girlfriend tell me that she was taking an antidepressant. She said its side effects were dry mouth, fatigue, and trouble sleeping. And I said, that's awful. Do you get that every night? She said, no, only with you. I I dated a Jewish girl once, but that didn't work out either. So she was looking for a man with a developing career and a circumcised penis. And I have more of a developing penis and a circumcised career. So this might sound weird, but I am a huge admirer of Eleanor Roosevelt. And one of my favorite quotes of hers is, "A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until she's in hot water." But I worry that can sound a little awkward today because teabagging is, a sex act. So I updated it. A woman is like a rubber band. You never know how strong she is until she's wrapped around your nutsack. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you. Have a good night.
Peter Koo, Eleanor Roosevelt, I think would approve of that change. I think it's very modern. Excellent idea. Your next comic coming to the screen is a great friend all the way from Thousand Oaks, California. She's so funny. Please give it up for Michelle Malizaki.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh. My mother-in-law passed away recently. I got inheritance. I got 10 baskets. I don't have big hands. These are itty bitty baskets. I'm set for life with itty bitty baskets. And there will be a memorial service for my mother-in-law in June. And there'll be 50 people there. I hope I get to MC. I'm from Japan and my family are pretty frugal. I told my aunt that I have the same dishwasher for 15 years. And she said, "Is that it?" I have the same dishwasher for 35 years till he divorced me. I teach Japanese at the adult school. That's what you do when you live in a foreign country and you don't have any skills and you don't want to learn any. Okay, I'm so pleased that you all came tonight. So I will teach you some Japanese. Okay, let's start with greeting. Okay, Ohayo. That's good morning. Ohayo. Okay, now good evening. It's Oklahoma. Oh, you are so good. Okay, let's move on with kanji. You know kanji? Kanji is a written character that corresponds to words. And it's super easy. Okay, see, easy, kanji. The first one is a person. You see it? Easy? Okay, let me show it to you, but with using my body. Person. See, person? Person. Okay, second kanji. It's going to be big. Big. person, go bam. Hey, person, bam. Big. See, big. Super easy, isn't it? Okay, now level up. We are going to combine two characters. Big and person. Big person. That means adult. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? And it's so easy. Okay, but if you want to get a tattoo of adult on your body, please make sure you don't have any moles around the Chinese character, the kanji characters. Because if you have a mole between the legs, like this, you see it right here? See? This is not a tooth. Like this, it's not big anymore. It means fat. See, fat. See, you don't want your tattoo to be fat person. Okay, now taking that dot off. And if you have a dot on a corner, like this, see that means something else. Can you guess? Woof, 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 woof. Dog. See, big dog, big dog. Whoa, it's this. You don't want your tattoo to be dog person. Okay, if ladies, if you are looking for a husband, you just have to hit something big with an arrow like this. See, big and an arrow. That means husband. Amazing, isn't it? And husband person is a Mrs. Wow, so easy. Oh my gosh, my arrows are coming off. You are such a great student. You all get A's. But there's a disclaimer. Ladies, please don't actually hit a man with an arrow. You don't want to kill him before you marry him. Well, thank you so much for letting me teach you Japanese. I'm Michelle Malizaki. Thank you. Yay.
Michelle Malizaki, sound advice. Don't hit a man with an arrow. No. And I don't know if that was visual or auditory learning, but I learned something. That was great. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing from New York City. She's a very funny, lovely person. Please give it up for Kathy Neville Brown.
I went to Dunkin' Donuts and gave the sexy tattooed guy behind the counter a coupon for a discount latte. Well, he looked at it and handed it back to me and said, "Oh, you don't need this. I already gave you the senior discount." I was like, "But I'm not 65. He said, "Oh, I know that. It's 55 here." I was crushed. So he said, hey, you just saved 33 cents. It's cheaper that way. I said, "Not to my self-esteem, it isn't. Besides, that 33 cents is going to cost a fortune in therapy." When I was pregnant, I learned that there's a special word for a woman in her 30s who's pregnant for the first time. Elderly prima gravida. It sounds like something in a cage in a zoo. I can hear the tour guide now. Ladies and gentlemen, you see before you a fine example of an elderly prima gravida. She is 35 years old, 8 months pregnant. Her hormones are raging, and she's in this cage because her food cravings are out of control. Little boy, don't stand next to that cage with a chocolate bar." The last child who did that lost 3 of his fingers. Today, if you hit your child, you get arrested. 40 years ago, my parents considered that good parenting. When my brother misbehaved, my dad would say, "Mister, I'm gonna knock you into next week." And my brother was like, "Tuesday? Is Tuesday good for you?" When I was growing up, parents used to brag about their kids' school or how they did in sports. Today, things are different. I ran into a friend who told me that his youngest son was engaged and his fiance is Chinese. Is this how white people get bonus points today? By bragging how multicultural their kids are? I can just see it now. My daughter-in-law is half Native American and half Latina. Oh, yeah? Well, my daughter married someone from Yemen. They adopted a baby from Nepal, and they brew their own kombucha for the homeless in Appalachia. I got nothing. My family is Irish. So my son, who's in his 20s, took me out to lunch and he said, "Mom, great news. You're going to love this. I'm getting kind of serious with that Irish girl." And I was like, oh, shit. When I was 9 years old, my most precious possession was my dancing ballerina jewelry box. And when the tooth fairy gave me a quarter, that's where I put it. But one day, the quarter just disappeared. Years later, my younger brother told me what happened. He said, when I lost my first tooth, the tooth fairy was kind of short on change, so she just borrowed the quarter from your jewelry box. And I thought, I didn't need a dancing ballerina in that box. I needed Lara Croft holding an AK-47 saying, "Back off, bitch." I took a class, an acting class called Shakespeare from the Loins. The first day, the teacher said, class, gather round, darlings. I want each of you to choose something in this room and proceed to make love to it. No, not each other. A thing, an object. Robert, don't reach for your zipper. You're not actually going to do it. It's an exercise. Well, I ended up on a pole, not a nice shiny pole, but it was covered with insulation. So I was bumping and grinding, and it was fun. So much fun that I didn't hear when the teacher said stop. So I kept going until the top button of my jeans ripped open the insulation, which exploded and dumped hundreds of itchy fiberglass particles all over my crotch. Shakespeare from the Loins, she was not kidding. One of my girlfriends is so scared about what's going to happen once this pandemic ends. I mean, we both have teenagers. And she said, "Kath, I am really worried. After 14 months of isolation, people are going to be partying all night and just having wild, unprotected sex with multiple partners all the time. It's going to be like Caligula out there." And I was like, whoa, that's just, sign me up. Thank you so much, you guys. Be safe, and you know what I mean by that. Good night.
Kathy Neville Brown. It's gonna be busy after the pandemic. Gonna be busy. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing all the way from Santa Monica, California. We love this guy. You are gonna love him. Please give it up for Tom Cesco.
Thanks very much, everyone. Good to be here. My friends ask if I miss going out, and I have to say, I have mixed feelings because people keep confusing me with someone else. Oh my gosh, I thought Mr. Rogers was dead. Or, it's the Lexus salesman. I'm proud to say my wife and I, for the entire 20 years of our marriage, have been living the green life. From the very beginning, we recycled our arguments. I said to my wife, "You dropped a pen on the rug. Why are you doing that?" And she'll say, "That is the dumbest question I've ever heard." And then she'll drop a fork and I'll say, "You're doing it again. Why are you doing it again?" And she'll say, "Why are you asking the same dumb question?" For you single people, that, in a nutshell, is marriage. So I got a call from my mom's nursing home, and the guy said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but your mother has been stealing bacon off the plate of other residents. So I said, why don't you just give her own plate of bacon? And he says to me, we can't because she's got a doctor's order for a pureed diet. So I said to the guy, you know, my mom really does love bacon. And he says, yeah, I love bacon too. You know what? I'll get permission from the doctor. And he did. She did die from bacon, not from choking on it. She was running to get it. I'm a doctor and a hypochondriac, which is tough on my wife. I said to her, I have cephalgia. It's probably stage 4 angioendotheliomatosis. What am I going to do? Well, what you did the last time worked. Take an aspirin. I read in the news that this woman, after her husband died, created a texting robot using all of his text messages. And now she gets these robotic texts and she says, I know it's him because the texts sound just like him when he was alive, like this one, leave me alone. I'm a joint specialist and my office is not far from Venice Beach, which causes some confusion among the native population. Some guy on rollerblades will ask, dude, what do you do? You're a joint specialist? Gnarly! Do you have some Maui Wowie or Kona Gold? I try to clear up the confusion right away. No, I deal in rheumatoid joints. Oh, I get it. Dude, I never smoked that. You know, some surgeons listen to music while they're operating. I don't know if that's a good idea. We will rock you. Sing it. We will rock you. Doctor, you broke the bone you just fixed. You know, doctor, I think you should put on Sonny and Cher. Oh, if I may say so, doctor, you operate much better to Sonny and Cher. There are insurance policies for health insurance called the bronze policy, the silver policy, and the gold policy. Why don't they just be honest and just say it? We have the completely shitty policy, the shitty policy, and the you've got a fighting chance to live policy. I learned something from a patient of mine the other day, and he told me the word insurance is based on the ancient Greek word for no. I think it's an outrage that insurance companies will turn down a drug that's essential for a patient. Rheumatoid arthritis is extremely painful, and I have patients telling me that they call and their medication is denied. Why is my rheumatoid arthritis medication being denied? Well, let me look up your policy, sir. It's a POS policy. Point of service? No, piece of shit. Well, what medication is covered? Vitamin C. Vitamin C? I don't have a cold. I have terrible pain from rheumatoid arthritis. Oh, that's a whole nother story. Advil. You're killing me. Yes, we are, slowly and profitably. Our medical system is so broken, I can tell you even doctors don't know how to fix it. It would take someone like Walt Disney to have the imagination to fix it. You know, at Disneyland, they've got Frontierland, they've got Tomorrowland, they could have Hospital Land. When you get to the front of a very short line at Hospital Land, you know, the cast member will ask you for your health insurance. And if you say no, they'll say, come right in. And if you go to Hospital Land for something simple like bunion surgery, afterwards, your doctor will say to you, you know, you look tired. I'm going to prescribe you stay here at the hospital for a month or two. That's great. That's wonderful. But what if I have pain? Well, if that happens, you're going to need to visit Morphine Land. Thank you all. And now back to Michaela in New York land.
Yay, New York land. Yay, Tom. Awesome job, Tom. My insurance policy in New York land is just a 500 count bottle of ibuprofen. It works every time. I love it. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing all the way from Southeast Iowa, and he's making his stand-up comedy debut. We're so glad to have him on the show. Let's hear it for Ben Harris.
Thanks. So I saw an ad on social media the other day for a virtual 5K. A virtual 5K. Now, I'm not a runner. I smoke a pack a day and I get winded putting on a hat. But I am 100% confident in my ability to win this fucker. I bet the last thing a dominatrix wants to do at the end of the day is come home and discipline the children. Just do the dishes. Don't make me crack the whip. I'm getting bursitis in my arm from cracking the whip. So I have 2 kids. They're okay. They're fine people, I guess. I'll probably keep up with them when they're older and stuff, check in every now and then, see if they're making any real money, just like my dad does. I have a 130-pound 6-year-old son. We're approximately 2 cupcakes away from an appearance on Maury Povich. I decided recently that once a child crosses the 100-pound threshold, they're no longer Happy Meal eligible. You want a toy? Fucking build one. I used to be married. I believe marriage is a lot like a finger up my ass. I tried it once. I didn't really like it, but if I find a girl that's hot enough, she could talk me into it. She could talk me into it. I hate today's country music. I hate it. But I live in the most Alabama-y part of Iowa, so I hear it. Now, where I come from, there are 2 subgenres of country music today: tractor rap and trailer pop. And the difference between these groups of people is really nothing. Nothing. They both enjoy campfires down by the creek, beer in plastic cups, and blowjobs from Aunt Nadine. Speaking of things that suck, Kid Rock is still alive. Yeah. Kid Rock, listening to Kid Rock's music when all of the world's music is available at your fingertips is like getting a reservation at Nobu and eating only the gum from the bottom of the table. Kid Rock is the human equivalent of an above-ground swimming pool. He's shallow. He hasn't been cleaned recently. The only people that think he's fun are poor and white. So just to be clear on this subject, I think it should be perfectly legal to murder anyone who puts clothing on their pets. To sum up my opinion on this subject, this shit has got to stop. You ever quit drinking and then start again? Oh man, it is the best. It is the best. Now, sorry. For some reason, they call it falling off the wagon, which is stupid, because they should call it hopping back up on the chariot of fire. Now, listen, I'm pretty lucky. I don't have to drink a lot of alcohol to reap the benefits. I could have maybe like a beer and a shot. Still wake up with a fat chick. Thanks, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Ben Harris, stand-up comedy debut. All right, Ben. I reap the benefits of alcohol as well because I'm so small that it doesn't take a lot for me to get drunk. So I like to consider my body like a little iPod shuffle. And then when I have like one margarita, I only play Jimmy Buffett. I totally relate. I want to mention we have some more show coming at you. We have a few more stand-up debuts, awesome comics left. But I want to say, if you've ever dreamed of doing stand-up comedy and you love making people laugh, you got to take this workshop with Steve Rosenfield. No matter where you are in the world, you can be a part of it. You can do stand-up comedy and you can be performing with us here next month. Our next workshop starts on May 11th. Go on over to comedyinstitute.com to learn more and to sign up, and you'll get in touch with me and we'll put you in the workshop. Moving on to our next incredible comedian making her stand-up comedy debut. You can see her, actually, not see her, you can hear her show, Dr. Lisa Gives a Shit, every Thursday on radiofreebrooklyn.org. So excited to have her on the show. Please give it up for Lisa Levy.
Hi, I am so happy to be here. The friends my age are starting to die off, and I really need to meet some new people. You know what I love about getting older? No one pays attention to old people, and I love shoplifting. The other thing is, I don't have to worry about hiding my career failures anymore. Being a checkout at Trader Joe's is a perfectly reasonable job at my age. No one has to know that's what I've been doing my whole life. Seduction isn't the same when you get older. You know what does work? Emotional manipulation. It's so worth working on. Learn how to manipulate your partner and you will never have to work on your looks again. And that's something you can improve on at any age. You know what I don't understand? I don't understand why restaurants put the calorie count on the menu right next to the food descriptions. I mean, for God's sakes, hide it. Put it at the bottom with the peanut allergy disclaimer, something like that. I mean, all I want is a cheeseburger, and I just can't stop thinking that's 222 calories, 2,200 calories. Oh my God. What is that even in Weight Watchers points? And some menus have calorie counts for drinks. So great. Alcohol is now nutrition. Oh my God, Chardonnay, it's only 150 calories. So great. I'll have 5 of those. Forget about the burger. Before the pandemic, I took a plane and I went to Disney World in Orlando. I was in the airport and I was thinking, Disneyland and the airport have really a lot in common. They both sell ride tickets. They both have crappy overpriced food. They screen you for weapons before they let you in. But the thing is, the standards at Disneyland, Disney World, the safety standards, they're just so much higher. I mean, can you imagine? Breaking news. 12 people killed today in a freak accident at Magic Mountain. 3 people died in drowning at the Little Mermaid parade. And, The good news is all 13 hostages at Pirates of the Caribbean were released, and now they're resting comfortably at the Enchanted Tiki Room. The famous French philosopher Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." The truth is, if I can identify photos with lights in them, therefore I am. This is how you prove you're human now? Frankly, that pisses me off. I just want to get my bank balance and now I have to prove I'm human? It's not enough that they have my passport. It's not enough that they know my favorite color is green. It's not enough that they know my hamster's name is Fang. They now have to know whether I'm a human being. I just want my bank balance. Sometimes I can't take the pressure. And I'm looking at these pictures. I mean, is there a teeny weeny traffic light over there in the corner? I don't know. And then, should I click it? No, I don't know. And then like you get one wrong and then you have to start over again. Is it me? Is it the test? Am I not mentally competent anymore? Who started this gender reveal party thing? I mean, come on, let's party. We saw a pussy on the sonogram. I live next door to an ice cream truck warehouse. So this is what I hear all day. Turkey in the straw, turkey in the hay, turkey in the straw, turkey in the hay. The funniest thing I ever saw was a little tune called Turkey in the Straw. That's my life. Thanks, folks. Thank you. Have a good night.
Lisa Levy, stand-up comedy debut. Wow, next to an ice, amazing. I'm so glad I have another friend in Bushwick. I think we should go case some joints together since you're gonna be the shoplifter. Seems like that works out for you better than banks. Just keep on shoplifting, Your next comic coming to the screen is also making her stand-up comedy debut on the other side of the Hudson from Bergen County, New Jersey, the very funny Navi Gill.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Navi and I'm from India. Coming into US, I was a little nervous about racism until I got to customs. I handed the immigration officer my passport and he said, "How are you?" I thought that was so sweet. This is not a racist country. He gave me back my passport. I went ahead and I saw an African American cart lady and she said, "Ma'am, how are you?" And I thought, this is the least racist country in the world. I've lived in India all my life, and I don't think anyone ever really asked me, "How are you?" We can't. I mean, India is a nation of 1.3 billion people. If everybody checked to see how you are, that would take everybody's time. And we wouldn't be 1.3 billion people. And it wouldn't just affect India. If we were going around asking each other how we were, who would be answering your whereas and billing calls? I went to North Carolina, and for the next 3 months, I mean, people just hammered that question at me. Day in, day out, how are you? How are you? I started worrying, why are these people still talking to me? Are they going to follow me home? Mug me? What a bunch of racists. And finally, thankfully, next semester, light bulb went off. I finally understood. Everyone asks here, how are you? And nobody gives a fuck. Just like Indians. They aren't racist. They just have too much time on their hands. I started to enjoy. It was great. And then I realized that they so deeply didn't give a fuck that I didn't even have to acknowledge the question. That the perfect American way to answer how are you is to say how are you. That was gold. They should have just told me on the flight. So another question that I didn't understand Americans ask was, what do you think of the weather? Why is everyone here so interested in the weather and what I think about it? I mean, in India, nobody asked me how is the weather. We don't have the time to ask how are you. What do we think about the weather? In general, India has two kinds of weather, hot and burning hot. They're both awful and nobody cares which one it is. Okay, and let's just accept the premise that it's a valid question. It's the fact that you choose to spend so long talking about it. How's the weather? Is it sunny? Partly sunny? What is it going to be like tomorrow? Is it the 70s, 50s? Cloudy? Partly cloudy? You're conducting an extensive interview. What are you, Oprah? And to be honest, after living here, this was not the worst question until I heard the next one that I absolutely started to hate. How was your weekend? I mean, nobody asked me that either. People don't ask you, how was your weekday? What do you want to know? How did I sleep? How I woke up? Weekend? Are you talking Saturday or Sunday? What do you want to know? And I have to bloody answer this question every Monday? Okay. I'm going to do this and learn. Now that I am in America and I have time. So I asked Steve, my coworker, how was your weekend? He says, it was nice, you know, weather in the 70s. My wife and I went to the hike with the boys, spent all afternoon on the trail, finished off with the picnic and came home. Me, oh, you have a life. Okay, let me try. I live by myself. I have no roommates. I just moved into the country. I have an air mattress I sleep on. I did my homework. I have my laptop, but no Wi-Fi. So how is my weekend? Thank you, thank you, everybody. You guys have been so wonderful.
Navi Gill stand-up comedy debut. Hopefully now you can tell Steve your weekend was good. You tried stand-up comedy, you did it. It was awesome. Yeah. And I'll just let you in on how was your weekend? It's actually slang. It's shortened. The original American phrase is how was the weather over your weekend? We just cut out the weather part. We're all learning. We're all learning today. Your headliner coming to the screen tonight. He is from Middletown, New York, a very funny guy. Give it up for the very, very awesome Bruce Gluckman.
I am 68 and I'm still in a midlife crisis. I mean, to deal with it, I started reading self-help books like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Unfuck Yourself, a book about hope. Everything is fucked. And calm the fuck down. I'm inspired. I'm writing my own. Go fuck yourself. And my last physical, my doctor gave me a digital. I heard him, give me I heard a loud oh, and then doctor, can you be more specific? I said, something that doesn't feel right. I said, well, yeah, damn straight something doesn't feel right. You've got 3 fingers up my ass. And then a biopsy followed and a diagnosis of prostate cancer. Now, people tried to be helpful when I told them. One guy said to me, oh, prostate cancer. It's the best cancer to get. Well, how can you respond to that? Like, oh my God, that's wonderful. I am so excited. Thank you so very much. Now, when discussing treatment, doctors told me that radiation was an option. But before they could start that, my testosterone had to be lowered to 0 for 4 months. Then the side effects would include sudden mood swings, crying uncontrollably for an hour or more for no reason whatsoever, and hot flashes. Wait, is my wife treated for prostate cancer? So, I opted for surgery. I go to the hospital for the surgery, and I'm sitting around in a room waiting my turn, and I notice that every guy there looks just like me. And I'm thinking, how do I know it's my turn? I mean, is it like the deli? Is someone just going to come out and they're going to point and say, next? So I walked into the operating room, and, it looked really familiar to me. I mean, where did I see this before? And then I realized it was the death chamber of a penitentiary. That garden. And I woke up 5 hours later, -1 prostate, and wearing only a white diaper. A senior citizen New Year's baby. And I really got to be an acute observer of diaper marketing. I mean, for women, the big selling points are activity, strength, and living life to the fullest. But for guys, much simpler. The selling point is the package. Well, not this package, but this package right here, front and center. And when I looked at that, I thought, well, there's something of an upside to this. The last time that I looked like that, I was 13 years old, and I had stuffed 3 pairs of sweat socks down the front of my pants before my bar mitzvah. I mean, after all, I thought, today I am a man, so I should look like that. Now, incontinence is not the only after effect. I mean, there's another one. And how can I put it to you? Yes. Say goodbye to your little friend. But it can be dealt with. I volunteered for rehab, the sexual health program. Now, I call it the penis school. The school of hard cocks, where we can all aspire to graduate summa cum laude. And I had to report the results every time I did this, on a scale of 1 to 10. 6 was looked upon as a minimum for, good results. But I just can't understand this grading system. I mean, as far as I can see, there are only 2 grades: pass and fail. But the need to understand this grading system just gnawed at me. I just had to know the answer. What was that all about? I mean, but I was embarrassed to ask about this. So finally, I got up the nerve, and the nurse explained it to me. A 6 is good enough for vaginal, but a minimum 7 required for anal. Oh, that clears it up. So, any volunteers? It has been a tough road. But on the bright side, the medication works. And it lasts for an hour or more. So I'm looking at new career options. Geezer porn. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a great audience.
Bruce Gluckman. Yes, if we have any geezer porn producers watching, just slide into the chat, let Bruce know. it's time to start his new job. Thank you all so much for watching. That was our show. Thank you so much to all the comedians that performed tonight. If you want to try stand-up comedy, if you love making people laugh, do it at the American Comedy Institute. We have our workshops online every month, and our next workshop starts on May 11th. Thank you so much